Hello and welcome back to Catherine's Couch. Actually, Catherine's chair. We've unlocked a new location. If you can't tell, this is our office. I'm playing around with the best lighting. I'll see. For this week's Catherine's Couch, we're going to talk a little bit more about friends and feelings about going home. What growth and grief have in common. I just came back from being away. I was in my hometown for a little over a week. I went to my best friend from high school's wedding, and she was absolutely beautiful. Every single bride is the most beautiful person on their wedding day. That's a fun fact I feel like people aren't as vocal about, but they perhaps should be. At a wedding, the bride is the most beautiful person on the planet. And it's so cool to see so much beauty and to see somebody so celebrated. I couldn't stop crying really at the wedding because I felt like we had had so many sleepovers in our life growing up, and we've taken so many Cosmo girl quizzes and daydreamed about our happily ever afters. Like, her wedding was straight out of those dreams, and it was so cool and fulfilling to see. The night before her wedding, I slept probably 3 hours. I was so nervous to go to this wedding because I hadn't really been around a group of girls I used to hang out with in high school for a really long time. When I moved across the country, that year I moved across the country, I think 3 or 4 of my friends from high school got married, and I didn't go to any of the weddings. I RSVP'd no. I didn't not like I RSVP'd no, and for a variety of reasons. Like, it was a period of growth and it wasn't the right call for me. So, I didn't go to those weddings, and in the absence of that, my group of friends from high school have gotten closer, and I have not really with them. And I was really anxious about this wedding in particular because there was like a couple people who I used to be close with in high school who I just didn't think liked me. And anyway, so I go to the wedding and I'm there early, and immediately I see somebody I haven't seen in years. Like, a lot of these people I hadn't seen in at least 4 years. And the last time I had seen this person, we were never friends in high school. Like, we were friends after high school because our friends were friends. Like, we were friendly. I see this person and she was so warm to me. We ended up sitting at the same table, and it was such a great time, and it was such a big surprise for me. And I even said that, I'm like, thank you for being so warm. And she was like, girl, like water under the bridge. We're so happy. We're both celebrating this girl that we love. And it was such a wonderful surprise. I had the best time with her all night, and I met her husband, and it just was I felt really loved and really surprised. So we go to the ceremony, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's in this field. You can see cows. It's so cool. And we're sitting on the side of the bride, and somebody comes up who I used to be friendly with, I thought, who I was nervous to see because I just had a feeling, right? And that was not a pleasant interaction for me. So for a lot of the night, I would talk and they like wouldn't speak back to me. They were right behind me at the ceremony. I heard them like say some stuff that just hurt my feelings. And it's so funny that all of a sudden I was like in middle school again. I heard a person say like, if I'm sat at her table, I'm moving seats. Which also, on an aside note, at a wedding, if there are like, that's just like rude to the bride. Like, you know what I mean? I felt really small, and it made me sad. And I hadn't ever been around these people with my husband. Like, I had never had another person to witness my behavior with these people. And for a lot of the night, I groveled. I was trying to get them to like me. I had all this guilt. Honestly, I've had a lot of guilt in my life since moving across the country. I've blamed myself for the erosion of these friendships, and I've felt really guilty. And I followed them online and liked all of their endeavors, and really like I just felt so much guilt, and it was really a lot for me. So, yeah, I groveled a lot of the night, and I felt the familiar feeling of being small. And by the time we drove home, my husband was like, you don't need to make up the years you haven't been here right now. And it hurt. Like, his criticism hurt because it was honest. And he was right. And I wish it wouldn't go this way. Like, I wish that didn't happen. I wish it was so funny, and it also makes sense that the person who I didn't have like a history with, we would have a really warm time together. But people who I did have a history with felt like these two people hated me. And that was tough to swallow, at least because one of them was someone who I really wanted to like me. And I think the majority of our friendship was me wanting them to like me for so many years and like trying to force a square peg in a round hole. And I needed that moment and that discomfort to move on with my life. Like, I really wanted there to be warmth between us. And I can now say that I've done everything I can and like everything I could to try and bridge gaps. And I think I'm learning real time with you that there's so much out of control in our lives, and you can't control what people think about you and who likes you. And I know it hurts. I really do. Ahead of this wedding, I'm like sitting with my family trying to talk it out. And like, I know logically it makes sense that people would get closer when I moved. And I know logically that like I don't want anyone who doesn't like me to be in my life, and that there's nothing wrong with people not liking you. And at the same time, it still bummed me out and it still made me nervous. And I know logically that these people and I have served each other in seasons of life and no longer serve each other. And that's why we're no longer friends. And at the same time, at that wedding, I felt just as small as I had ever felt trying to beg people to be my friend. Like I felt 13 again. And it's funny when my heart and my brain and my body all don't seem as aligned. And so I think I'm working on releasing the shame of that and reminding myself that there are stages of grief, and anger and sadness live within that. The only way to describe the drive home was a cleansing for me. We drove to the wedding and back. Nick flew out the next morning at like 4 a.m. Like my husband, he's the best. He doesn't often make observations about like behaviors in life. And really within like 10 minutes of being around one of these people, he was like, I don't like this person. Like, I don't like how they're speaking to you. This is so uncomfortable for me. That was really like humbling for me. And I cried the whole way home. Like I called my parents and I talked to my brother and my friend, who my brother's dating someone I absolutely love. She's my friend. So we were talking to her, and it was very humbling and exhausting. And I felt like the next day I was still processing it, but then I just felt clear. I felt cleansed. I needed that. Like, you're always on time for your own life. And I'll say you're always on time for your own life is because I have often been frustrated by my own timing. This was my timing. Like, I needed to go to that. I needed to make that effort to see somebody. I needed to experience the pain of the meanness to move forward in my life and free myself from the guilt that I had been carrying alongside me. And I posted on Instagram what I was feeling, because my goal when I'm speaking to you is to speak and make you feel less alone. And it's funny that there's like a dichotomy of the more honest and vulnerable I am, the more people in my day-to-day life feel a way about my art in connecting with you, and the more connected you feel to me. And I had made a video about like, you will outgrow people and it will hurt, because it does. I didn't want to outgrow those people. Like, I wanted to still like them. And I got feedback about that. When I first started connecting with you and sharing, I would receive feedback about stuff online, and it would be rooted like in myself, I guess, that people would be like, that makes me feel a certain way, because everything I share and all art is rooted in reality. It had a lot of videos when I first was connecting with you where people asked me to take them down, and I would. And I would respond like, this is something I want, or I'd take them down and I'd get really in my head. And so I had made some art about this feeling, and I had received feedback from people in my life, and it connected to me this familiar feeling of anger, because initially I feel angry. I make videos for you. I don't make videos for people in my day-to-day life who know me in a different realm to see. Like, our relationship is very sacred to me, and that's just a part of creating. You can't control who sees. It struck me when I was talking about a piece of art I had created that when I had taken a break, it was because I felt really anxious. I was in like a bad mental state, and I wanted the connection with you without the vulnerability required to connect, which that doesn't work. And so I think I would dream about a time where we could be vulnerable together and it wouldn't affect other people in my life. And I realized that here we were, and I realized it's not that I don't care that people in my life resonate with my art. It's that I care more that you do. It's that I care more about you, about us, about our community. And that was a cool feeling to feel for me. I care more that my lived experience and sharing my experience may make somebody feel less alone than I do about preserving the comfort of my own. It is uncomfortable when I create something and somebody is hurt because my intention is never to hurt. But I think I'm realizing that I'm able to sit with the discomfort of hurting for being able to make you feel seen. I can sit with those two truths for me. And that was something I didn't anticipate being able to say. I didn't anticipate it being true for me, and I'm so thankful that I realized that last week. I don't anticipate a future of our connection not affecting other people in my life. I understand the weight now, more so than I did initially. And in understanding the weight, that is the degree in which I love you, that I love us, I love we, I love the connection that we share. Because at the end of the day, that is worth it to me. You are worth it to me. Wherever you are, if you're listening, if you're watching, I just want you to know if you have experienced this where you go home and you feel the weight of no longer fitting in and you feel the shame and the discomfort and the embarrassment, I just want you to know I felt it too. I want you to know that although everybody's on their own journey in life and we are all different, don't let that feeling lie to you. I've been there too, that it passed through me and it'll pass through you, and that I love you, that I believe in you, and I see you. Turn your feelings into something that makes somebody else feel less alone. Art does not only come from pain, but art is a way to transform pain. I can't wait to see how you interpret that. I love you very much. If no one has told you yet today, let me be the first to say you're always on time for your own life. Thank you for listening. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, TikTok. Let me know below other things you'd like us to talk about on my couch or my chair. And I just want to remind you, wherever this finds you, you're always on time for your own life. I love you very much, and I'll talk to you next week.